How many people out there consider themselves marks? So I got the shirt on today. How many of you are marks? You might not know what that means right away, but this video is talking about PayPal disputes, credit card disputes, and pre-ordering. The dangers of pre-ordering. Ooh. But in order to do that, I'm going to have to talk about this release schedule because you need to see what's actually happening and who you in the end, you need to figure out who you can trust or if you even want to engage in this practice anymore. So let's begin. We know Weiss has pushed back the release schedule on a few products already, and we have that here. So, and then we also have announced a bunch of sets that have no actual release dates. Right. Great. Okay. So new release schedule. It's been changed a few times, mainly because of, again, like what happened at the beginning of the year was all because Data Live getting a reprint. That wasn't, for the most part, that's what all occurred here at this point. Now we have this new schedule, most likely due to the pandemic. So we got Data Bullet being updated very, very recently. And Quince didn't get a change, but most likely, right, we all know October 29th, it's not going to happen at the same time as SAO. It'll be November or January, most likely November, right? That makes more sense to me than because this is Data Bullets in December. Right. Okay. Now you're with me. The thing is, I've seen this dangerous thing on Facebook groups, online stores. I don't know about physical stores that they've been doing it, but actually there is a physical stores that are taking pre-orders for a bunch of sets. And again, when you look at this list, we have Hololive, Rent a Girlfriend, Jobless, Reincarnation, all this RWBY. So you have all these sets being pre-ordered right now, right? But you can't, those sellers can't actually pre-order that stuff right now, right? We don't know how many they can actually get at this point. More than likely, they're going to be able to get enough to fulfill the orders, but at the same time, they literally can't put that order in. Like, here's a distributor, and the farthest they've gone is quintessential quintuplets. I know Data Bullet just came out, so I imagine this week they might be throwing it up. This one right here put Data Bullet already up, and that's as far as it goes. And it makes sense because that's what Weiss announced, right? They're like, Data Bullet has now come up for pre-orders, so it makes sense that distributors are now going to start putting them up. So why are stores taking pre-orders for these sets in full? There are some stores that I'm seeing taking the pre-order up in front. There's some people taking deposits, and some people are just getting some interest, right? So any one of those. But this one goes out to the people that are paying full amount for a product that can't even be pre-ordered. And by the way, you don't know when it's even coming out. So what I'm going to talk to you about is PayPal disputes and chargebacks. I want you to, if you don't like the way I describe things, I'm not going to be hurt if you watch some other video. Feel free to look up Rudy's Alpha Investments video on Secret Layer, PayPal disputes and chargebacks. It's pretty in-depth, 19 minutes and 45 seconds long, but be sure to know about this because there is some things that are going to happen one day in Weiss, and you're going to be caught totally off guard about it. And that's what I said about being a mark, right? So again, you need to think about, can you tell me right now, anybody, like in your mind, obviously you can't tell me, can you tell me what the amount, how long do you have days-wise to file a dispute on PayPal? Do you know? You can actually see these tabs up here. Do you know how long you have to file a dispute with your credit card? Okay, just keep that in mind. So I want to tell you about a little bit of a story about myself because I'm not going to act like I knew all this. before. I didn't. I was one of those unfortunate people that Rudy was talking about in this video that bought from a store. And I would say in my mind, I don't think I did anything wrong. Like I purchased from an actual physical store, not near me, that had this jumpstart boxes. The reason I did that was because around here locally, they were already sold out of jumpstart. I wanted it. I thought it was really cool. I like the pictures. Look at that dog. Look at that white. Hold on. Look at that dog. The one, the third one, the on the right. So you got all these ferocious dogs, and you got like this little happy one just running along there. So I just think this product was really cool. If anybody didn't know about it, Jumpstart is basically a bunch of booster packs, a bunch of packs inside of this booster box. In it, how you play it is you take two of these packs, put them together, and you can play. Kind of like the thought of a trial deck, but there's so many other deep themes inside of this box that I just thought it was really cool. Everybody was hating on the product right away, but for me, I just thought it was awesome, something I wanted to keep for myself, and at the same time, would be fun to play. So there were so many things going for it. I thought it was worth purchasing a few of these, and that's what I did. So the store I bought from previously, I went back and I bought more of these. I also bought Double Masters VIP from them as well. So what ended up happening was, and again, this is all speculation, and I'm gonna name the store. It's gone now, and it's more again just a life lesson. If you're wondering, I never even went back and bought this box because it sold out everywhere. It was sky high. It went up to like $200 at one point, and now like Wizards is reprinting tons of it. It's still something I want to pick up, but to me, it's kind of like a life lesson for me. So at this point, I don't have it, so then I can remember about the lessons I've learned. So basically, what ended up happening was this store started saying how they didn't have the money to pay for this product, so they couldn't get it from the distributor. They were like, we need to get a loan from somewhere so that we can pay it. And then one of the signs that I started seeing was I saw them on eBay just selling like thousands of boxes of Magic the Gathering and Pokemon. And I'm like, there's no way they have thousands of boxes. And I'm like, what is going on here? And then what the working theory is, I'm going to use Weiss since I have the schedule. They weren't selling Weiss, they were selling Magic and Pokemon. But basically, the running thought was they were pre-ordering product and taking that money and paying for the ones that are coming out. So when the distributor would ask for the money, they would pay for Seven Deadly Sins with RWBY money, right? And then they would have this Raz and Morfonica money, and then they would pay the Heaven's Feel money with it. And you're thinking, and this is a question a lot of people ask, what happened to the money that you had before? So when you pre-ordered Seven Deadly Sins, what happened to that money? Well, think about it. They used it on maybe Data Live way back when. So they're basically taking all that future stuff and paying for the past. You could think of it in this way. They might have started their business with a low amount of capital. So an easy way to grow is just pre-order more product and then use that to keep paying, right? You can grow more. As you profit over time, if you do this so many times, you'll eventually get back to break even, right? You'll get to break even. You didn't have to use all that capital, and now you don't have to do this practice anymore, just because the amount of money you have from profiting is now keeping you above the red. You know, you're going to be black now. So that's what the running thought was. It could have been they used the money to expand their store. They could have, if you want to go the most sinister route, they bought a bunch of fancy cars. They bought some houses and just stole your money and just using the pre-orders for again paying up the current stuff. Whatever the case, nobody really knows what actually happened. Again, I'm not here trying to beat this conversation again, like trying to figure out like what actually happened. But in the end, what that meant for all of us was we got ripped off, right? Somehow, some way, we paid for product months ahead of time. In my case, it was 2 months ahead of time. I paid for product 2 months in advance, and when it came time to actually get it, I didn't get it. So the next thing you have to do is, right, you need to put a dispute in. And that goes back to the question again about do you know how much time you have to do that? So I've had this credit card for 15 years. It is top notch. Every time there was some sort of fraud or chargeback needed, they always backed me up, returned my charges within 24 hours, sent me letters about what happened in their investigation and the closeout. So my credit card is one of the best that I've had to deal with in that way. Again, you don't want to use a debit card. You don't want to use your bank card at all, ever. I don't even know where mine is. That's basically, I get it. I don't cut it up, but I do put it somewhere just to make sure that nobody can actually use it. Because you don't want any charges tied back to your bank. Never, ever. So, I was able to do that. So talking about how I bought this stuff, I bought all with my credit card. Two of them I just did the straight up credit card, and the third one they added the PayPal option. And I'm like, oh, whatever, screw it, I'll just put it on PayPal. PayPal has protections and all that. So the third one I put on PayPal. But in the end, it was all the same credit card. So when this ended up happening, I had to call my credit card, and I'm like, look, this is what happened. This is happening to a ton of people, and I need this to be charged back. What people started saying was they went through PayPal, and then with PayPal, it took like 2, 3 weeks or something like that to get their money back. And the worst part was when they got their money back, it bounced. The money bounced. Like they tried to go back after the store. The store gave them that money back on PayPal, but then when as it was like pending or something, it bounced. How that happens, I don't know, but it bounced. Again, Rudy talks about that in the video. And once I heard that, that's where I was like, okay, screw it. I'm just going through my credit card. Because I don't do chargebacks, right? You're supposed to work with your merchant and all that. I sent them an email. I didn't get anything back. So after seeing all these stories about bouncing, I'm like, I'm not gonna get screwed on this one. So I'm gonna call my credit card, and they returned my money. I didn't have to go through that. PayPal sent me something that said, you did a chargeback, so if you want us to work on it, let us know. But if not, you charge back through your credit card. Um, it was a mess for everybody. Those people that were with PayPal eventually ended up having to call PayPal and getting more and more people involved to eventually get their money back. They all got their money back, but it took a long time. So now we get to the point of how long do you have, right? You have 180 days from the transaction date to initiate a dispute on the transaction. Okay, this is Chase Bank. I do not have Chase Bank. That was the first bank, credit card, whatever, that I searched. And I got submit your dispute within 60 days of the transaction first appearing on your statement. I don't know if any of you are panicking right now, because I know for a fact that people have pre-ordered Hololive at the full price. So let me just do this. If we do a count of how long that actually is, August to January is 5 months, right? Full months. And again, the reason why is because you submit your dispute within 60 days of the transaction first appearing on your statement. This thing is you have 180 days from the transaction date. So if you think about it, you have now just put yourself in the danger zone. You are in massive amounts of trouble. If you own Chase Bank, whatever bank, and they have that 2-month thing. If you have PayPal, you have 180 days, 6 months. So I just put these months here. It could be the other way around. Hololive could be in January. Again, these are just guesses. I have no clue. Hololive could be in February, right? Hololive could be in January. All I know is August to January, we already know that we had Data Bullet December. From there, it's a mystery, but you can guarantee probably that these things are coming out the next couple months. And if you put your money down on any of these sets, you and you didn't use PayPal, you could be completely screwed at this point. There is nothing to say at this point that this store is going to stay alive, that these guys aren't going to buy a bunch of houses, these backpack sellers aren't just going to take your money and run away. There is nothing that you can do about it, and you are completely screwed. Again, like when I bought this Jumpstart, I bought it from a store. I bought it from, they previously produced this, but what I didn't know is how they handle their money, right? I didn't know that they potentially, again, speculation, they took that money and paid for the old sets. That they have that money sitting there in a pool and swear to everybody in the world that they don't use it, right? I'm not. There are some stores that are definitely trustworthy. There are some sellers that are trustworthy, but can you absolutely tell me 100% that the person you bought it from is not going to rip you off? Because that's why these protections are put in place. But at the same time, there is a limit to that protection. And I really, really like to buy from, when I make my choices, right? That's why I said you need someone to vouch for them. Um, that's why all this time I've been saying that I don't want to vouch for a store. One, because even though I might have bought from them before, I can't guarantee what they do with their money. I am not close enough to them where I can throw them myself, right? Like there, I want to be able to know that person. I want to be able to see that person, and this is one of those moments where, again, I would most likely trust a local store because I would be able to get to know them more, right? If you're just buying from a person that you don't know just because they have the lowest price and you know nothing else about them and what they do financially, like if I see the store owner drive up in a Ferrari and I look at the store and there's not anyone around all the time, then you might want to call into question that. But again, these people that you're buying from, do you know anything about them? Do you know how they live, how they save their money? No. If you aren't, you're just really gambling. You're buying something early. Again, because we know Weiss is you have to get your pre-orders in. It makes sense. But at the same time, you're really, really going too early. Is my point. There's something good about pre-ordering ahead of time. There's something about potentially giving somebody your money 10 months in advance and hoping that they deliver. So for me, if you are going to pre-order, it's nice to go with people that you know, that you trust. And if you can't do that, if you don't have anybody around you, then look for the ones that say they just want to get your interest in it. Or the people that just give you that says $25 deposit. At least you're limiting your risk, right? Always keep a limit on your risk. If you are handing hundreds of dollars over to a store and you know nothing about them, you can't see them, you're just buying it because it's the lowest price, then you know what? Feel free. Go ahead and do that. But just know that one day there are people out there that are looking to rip you off, and it could happen. And again, maybe they didn't look to rip you off. Maybe they had an emergency come up and they used that as their piggy bank, or they had no intentions of doing it, but they still had to close because the business wasn't run correctly, or just a downturn, right? So not everybody's always looking to rip you off, but pre-ordering ahead of time and what's happening in Weiss is definitely very, very risky, and I would hope you would avoid it as much as possible.